Well, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Project Time Garage. Today's project, this 87 Shelby GLHS Charger. We get it back together, we get the head on it, we get it running. We might even drive it. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Saturday morning here. I spent quite a bit of time last night on the car, got the head back on it, got it torqued, got the new head bolts on it. Exhaust is hooked up with a new donut seal. What else we have? Turbo drain back turbo oil supply hooked up, and the drain back tube is on it. I gotta slip under there and put the clamps on that, and then start fighting with the fun of that bracket and the other things under there that shields and so on and so forth that need to go on the car. From that point, let me show you what I've got left to do up top. Up here, I have a broken fuel rail. That's all me. It's broke right there, you can probably see. So I'm gonna pull that off, and I'll probably try to braze it up for now, but I've got a member on the Shelby Dodge Auto Club who has one, and I've agreed to buy it. So that will be fixed forthcoming. Still got to put the timing belt back on it. Distributor's got to go back on it. Alternator bracket, air conditioner, AC tensioner bracket's got to go back on there. Everything on the front's got to go back on. Sending unit cluster has got to go back on there. Still got to hook up all the hoses and such. Back to the turbo. Ground, some wiring, double check, triple check, quadruple check all of my vacuum hoses. Make sure all that looks right. I'd like to be able to start this car today, just to kind of make sure that everything's cool. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna go back to work on this thing. I'll probably film everything that I do up top here down, but as far as filming under the car, it's I can't even see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna spare you all the awful camera angles that would be me working under this car. So anyway, it's early in the morning. I expect to get a lot done today. Let's see what happens. All right, guys, quick status update. So I worked all weekend on the little GLHS. This is Sunday, by the way. Worked pretty much all weekend on this thing. Got a long way. So this is where we are at this point. Head's back on and torqued. Alternator's back on and hooked up. Starter's back on and hooked up. Most of the wiring and plumbing is done. Oh, there's an air conditioner bracket right down there, or I guess an idler tensioner right down there that this car was missing, and happened to find it in the trunk, so that was a pretty good score. Over here we have new heater hoses in. We have the bottom radiator hose is not here yet. I ordered that thing a week ago and it still hadn't showed up yet, so I don't know what's taking that so long. Got all my vacuum tees replaced. Got a little bit more to do here. The knock sensor down there, when I went to unplug it originally, the whole thing just popped off in my hand, so I've got one of those coming. What else is going on here? Oh yeah, the boot that goes from the turbo, the turbo inlet, up to the bottom of the airbox, that was broken. That'd be this hose. It's broken here. All the way around, you can see it's basically where the clamp rode. It was just, it wasn't coming off. So had a member on the Shelby Dodge Auto Club that let me know he had one. He shipped it. I paid for it. It's on its way. So that's good stuff. Fuel rail has its own set of issues and whatnot. First thing was that this is the inlet, where the inlet goes to it, where the fuel line hooks up. It's supposed to be like out here. During the head removal procedure, I guess I got a little bit overzealous, and I may or may not have snagged it on something and cracked it. So I was going to try to weld it back together, but that's not going to happen. So I found another member on the Shelby Dodge Auto Club who had a rail, and he's going to get me shipping information on that. So that's going to be on its way. Another problem I had, the fuel pressure regulator. These studs here, for whatever reason, both of the nuts would just spin. They wouldn't actually come off. And I had stuff under there and trying to pry it as I was turning it. It wasn't liking it. So went ahead and ordered another one of those too to go with the rail, just in case I needed it. Those are pricey, about 60 bucks. What else is good here? Oh yeah, here's the big thing. The valve cover, right? It's a pretty nice valve cover. And I realized as I was about to get it out to clean it up that it's broken. And there's the piece that broke off the end of it. And I was ready to start kicking myself, right? Because I'm like, man, how could you be so careless? I was so careful to make sure that nothing happened to this thing. And then I started realizing that, well, after I looked at it a little closer, I realized that, hey, look, this is JB Weld. So I didn't do it. Not that it makes any difference, it's still done. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do here for this. Obviously that's not weldable. And I think it's, no matter what you do with it, as soon as you tighten that bolt down, it's going to go. So I'll bet you I'm looking for a valve cover. Now I've got a non-Shelby valve cover. If worse comes to worse, I can stick on the car, but I don't want to do that. I would rather see what I can do to repair this. This is not a daily driver car. This is a fair weather driver, so it's not like it's going to be long-term guzzling oil. But we'll see. We'll see what I do here. So as is the case most of the time when you're working on cars and trucks, I'm waiting on parts again. Waiting on lots of parts again. Most of the stuff should show up this week. And if that happens, as soon as I can put a fuel rail back on that thing, I'm going to start it and see what I've got and make sure that nothing explodes and tries to kill us. And if that works out, then we'll be on the road to getting it put back together. So anyway, just a quick status update. I'll bring you guys back when I have some parts and some fun stuff. Anyway, stay tuned. All right, parts have came in. I have the incorrect upper hose, which probably going to end up being the incorrect bottom hose. I haven't gotten that far yet. The OE upper hose that I'll probably, well, not OE, but the hose that came with the car that I'm going to be reusing until I get the correct one ordered. It's different for the GLHS. Gonna reseal the fuel injectors before I put them back on. Here's my old rail with broken inlet. New rail with fuel pressure regulator and unbroken inlet. So that's good. Let's see what else. Have the replacement air tube in. This is the unbroken / uncut side of it. And this is the old one that is broken / cut. Interestingly, it looks like Looks like what Shelby had done on these. If you'll notice, this part here is shorter than this part. It looks like from Shelby, the Shelby guys, when they put these together, they just took these tubes and cut them off right here at this line to make that, and that's where the clamp rides. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, so we're going to try to get to work on this thing, and hopefully we can hear this thing run before the end of the day. One of the wires for the injector harness. Looks like it was soldered. Maybe even from the factory, I can't tell. So I'm gonna fix that. Well, I've got it put back together enough that I'm going to try to light it off and just see what we have here. Very little is hooked up. In fact, I've got just enough hooked up to hopefully light it off. And my main goal is just to see, I just kind of want to see how it sounds, make sure nothing is crazy before I keep on putting it back together. So anyway, let's see what we've got. Okay, figured I'd better turn it off before I have an oil issue. Plenty of oil at the top, plenty of oil at the top. In fact, I've got plenty of oil up here, plenty of oil over here. It's good, it's real good. All right, it runs. That's a good sign. I'm really happy to hear that. The exhaust is quiet. It was a little noisy up top until it got some oil up there. I went ahead and squirted oil all over the cam followers and all before I started it. I've been doing that every few days just to make sure the surface of the cam didn't rust. Anyway, well, I'm excited. Let's put it back together the rest of the way. Let's go. Well, guys, it's back together. It's back together well enough to take it on a shakedown run, see what's going on. We did some upgrades while we were here. I went ahead and changed the oil in it, threw some new spark plugs in it, threw a new air filter in it. Got the timing set at 12 degrees. I actually went ahead and threw a charge in the air conditioner, put the belt back on it. Air conditioner actually took a charge and is holding a charge and is cooling, and it sounds good. So one of the upgrades I did was to put this remote start on here. All I got to do is press this button like this, and it starts. How cool is that? And to turn it off, all I got to do is pull it like this. Pretty awesome, huh? Well, look what we have back from the shop. one freshly fixed Shelby valve cover. Mine was broken. This whole ear was broken off of it right here. And I don't know why. I guess I just didn't have my thinking cap on, but I didn't realize that you could weld cast aluminum, because I know cast iron has, you know, its issues and whatnot, so I just assumed cast aluminum was the same way. I'm not a welding guy. I don't know. So anyway, I had a guy in a local hot rod group that that I'm in, who was going to be gracious enough to weld it up for me. Thanks, Chuck. I really appreciate the, you know, the thought. But I was on my way. Actually, I was on my way home the day I talked to him, and I happened to just drive by my local hot rod shop. It's called Hot Rods and Threads in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. And I thought, well, gosh, you know, I'm just going to swing in there and see if this is something they can do, because they're, you know, they're very, very close to me. So I jumped in there, and the guy says, absolutely, I can take care of it. And not only did he weld it back up and do a good job, but he also threw a quick paint job on it and sanded these ridges back off and the name back off. And that's, you know, I didn't ask him to do that, but he did. So, man, big shout out to the guys over at Hot Rods and Threads. Seriously suggest you look them up. So anyway, let's get this valve cover put on the car. So I wanted to go for just a short ride up the driveway. I want to show you guys what it's doing at this point. Check out that temperature gauge. I just put a new sender in it. This one reads all the way hot all the time. Well, not all the time, but that right there, according to the water neck and the head, is 140 degrees. So obviously I either have a bad sender or probably a bad sender. Anyway, what I'm most worried about here is going to be the boost. I still have a problem, and before I go driving down the road with this problem, I want to hammer the problem out in my driveway. So let me back you guys down the driveway here and just do a real short, not even really a pull. Doesn't take much to get too much boost out of this thing. Show you what I've got going on. All right, we're in second here. Hope you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah, see, that just went to 10. It's no good. Well, guys, that is the head gasket project wrapped up. The car is running really well. It's actually running a lot better than it was before. And it smokes a little bit. It smokes a little bit and then it clears up and goes and clears up and goes and clears up. So I think I'm probably gonna end up putting a turbo on this car at some point. That'd be my best guess because the smoke has no rhyme or no reason. Interestingly, the car didn't do that before the head gasket. So who knows? But I'll drive it a little bit and time will tell. Yes, this marks the end of the head gasket project, but it also marks the beginning of the series for this car. It needs a lot of stuff, and each one of those things is a good video in and of itself. So my plan is to make quite a few videos on this car, starting with either the passenger's door handle or the hatch. Passenger door handle just doesn't work at all. Driver's door handle is questionable. And add that math up, it's just a matter of time until we're locked out of the car. So I'm gonna nip that in the butt. Let's see, what else? I got some wheels that are looking pretty rough. We're gonna take a stab at refinishing those ourselves. That should be interesting. Let's see, we've got some paint work that's kind of ugly, and I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna do with the paint work on it. The stickers and stuff are just good enough that I'm not sure I want to mess with them. So I don't know if I will try to mix and match and try to get the paint looking driver good, or if we're just going to start over and just paint the whole thing. I don't know. Either way, it's something that we're going to do on this channel, and whether it's done right or whether it's done wrong, it'll be a huge improvement over this. Also, we may even wash it. I'm not one for washing my cars, but this one kind of needs it. Anyway, tons and tons of little projects coming up on this thing. Like I said, it needs an everything. The car was daily driven by somebody for almost 113,000 miles, I think. So it needs an everything. So I'm gonna wrap the head gasket video up right here. Guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos. You know, if you have any comments or any questions, please put them down below. I read and respond to everything. And don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video. That kind of stuff really helps us out. Speaking of that, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribing also helps us out. So anyway, as usual, like, share, subscribe. Thanks a ton, and I'll see you next time.